school because, well, we're a small group at this point, but we may grow a bit. But I hope that we can, my hope would be that we could stay in gallery view. I can't remember the default settings for my Zoom account. So Ashley Krug, our admissions director, is here with us, and she is going to keep track of the chat bar and kind of help with any connection questions that people have and keep track of that and let me know if I need to pause. But I was hoping we could start by introducing ourselves since we are a small enough group. And so I think the easiest way to do that is going to seem a little contrived, but I'll just call your name as though I were your teacher and invite you to introduce yourself. We'll start with the employees in the call right now. I'm Jeff Schneider. I'm the lower school head at Post Oak. And I'm joined by a couple of people that I'll let them introduce themselves next. Ashley and Joseph. Ashley, you want to go?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Ashley Krug. I recognize a lot of your names from Ravenna. I'm not sure if I've met you yet. Some of you I do recognize because you're current parents. So hello again. Probably saw you in carpool. But I'm the admission director here at the Post Oak School. And if you are a prospective parent, we are going to have lots of conversations in the upcoming months. And I'm very happy for you to be here to learn more about our elementary program. Thank you.
My name is Joseph Aiken. I'm the elementary director, and I work with our 7 elementary communities here at Post Oak, 4 of which address the ages of 6 to 9, or 1st through 3rd grade, and 3 which work with 9 to 12-year-olds, which is 4th through 6th grade. I'm glad to be here this morning with you all.
Thanks. And when I invite you to introduce yourself, could you please let us know if you're a current parent or a prospective parent, and briefly tell us the age of your child. Vishal, we'll start with you.
Absolutely, Jeff. Good morning, Jeff, again, and Ashley and Joseph. Name is Vishal Sachdev, a prospective parent. We have my wife and I, Shirley, you'll see on the call as well, have a 6-year-old. And we are very excited about this discussion and discovering more about the school.
Thank you. Timothy?
Hey, good morning. My name is Timothy Hammond. I have a 5-year-old and a 4-year-old, and I am a prospective parent looking to get some more information on the Post Oak School.
5 and 4, you're a busy guy.
Hey, man, I love it. I don't complain.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Jenny.
Hi, everyone. I am a current parent. I have a 5-year-old going to elementary soon next year, and a 3-year-old currently in primary.
All right, very good. And your timing couldn't be better. Really glad that you're here.
I drove back and made it on time after drop off.
All right. Yeah, there's the timing for your meeting and the timing for learning about elementary too.
Exactly, definitely.
All right, thank you. Andrew?
So Andrew Friedberg here, and I'm going to my wife Jennifer as well. This is the first week I'm back in my office physically. I discovered this one. Webcam I was issued doesn't work, so apologies all you folks. But we have a 5th grader who will be rising grader then, and we participated in a session with Ashley, which was much appreciated, getting to know more about the school. And our goal this morning is to get a better assessment of whether the Montessori program is a good fit for our school.
Okay, very good. Welcome. Evan?
Oh, hi, this is Amy. My son is Evan. Right now, he is a 5-year-old boy. Actually, we are in Vancouver right now. So as my husband's working change, so we will relocate to Houston next year. So we're trying to find some schools for him. I'm really like the Montessori principle. So we trying to get know more about the post-oak school. Thank you.
Very good. This is the silver lining of it all, right? Is
Yeah.
we can be with you from Vancouver. Now, Vancouver, you said Canada or Washington?
Oh, Canada.
Vancouver, Canada. Okay.
Oh,
That's actually
yes.
where I did my Montessori training.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Back in 2001, summer of 2001. I don't know if you were there. There was a big bus strike, and
Oh, yeah.
that was my only transportation to and from the training center. So I very quickly found a used bicycle and I did a lot of bike riding. But hey, I think I could not have picked a better place in the world to ride a bike than Vancouver, Canada.
Oh, yeah, exactly. The weather here is really good.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Anushri?
Hi, yeah, my name's Anushri. I just am doing some work around the house, so I took off my video, but I have a daughter who just started in primary. She's actually going to be going to first next year, so she's kindergarten. Her name is Serena, and we love it so far, but I was interested in getting to know more about the elementary school program, so yeah.
Very good, welcome.
Thanks.
And apologies for mispronouncing your name. Grisel?
Hi, it's Grisel.
Grisel, thank you.
Yes. Hi. I have a 4-year-old son. His name is Sebastian, and we're looking into getting him into kinder. And we also have a 1-year-old.
All right, very good. Shirley, welcome.
Welcome. So Vishal and I have a 6-year-old daughter. Her name is Sophie, and she's been through the Montessori Country Day system for most of her since she was 1. Right now, she is in Roberts Elementary, and we're looking to transition her back into the Montessori system for her 2nd grade. We also have a 2-year-old who is also currently in Montessori Country Day. And we see as she grows up, grows a little older, we would like her to continue her Montessori education as well. So I have 2 screens up, Shirley Sue 2, I'm on my iPhone. And then I have Shirley Sue, which is on the big screen in my office so I can see everybody. Okay.
Gotcha. Thank you. And forgive me if I'm calling someone's name twice. Ashley, who have I missed here? Anybody?
I think you got everybody, all the families.
If I accidentally overlooked you, please introduce yourself. Okay. Well, we have an interesting title for our meeting today, for our time together today. Something about the, oh gosh, I just forgot what it was. Debunking the myths, something like that. Yeah, Maria Montessori never trademarked or copyrighted her name. And so there are about 100 Montessori schools in Houston. Lots and lots of Montessori schools around the country. And there are a lot of people doing a lot of different things and calling it Montessori education. And so there's some variation in the way that it's interpreted and carried out in a school environment. And as you go into older age groups, I think that rather than the misconceptions and misunderstandings or whatever you want to call them, rather than that decreasing, I think maybe it even increases. And so not to put anybody on the spot, but I wonder if anyone would be willing to share what they think may be a myth or a misconception or whatever about Montessori education that you've heard before. feel free to unmute yourself and just blurt it out.
I could give it a try. I think people think Montessori are just pure play, you know, at kids' own will. There's no structure. Kids can just take things off their shelf and then work on it regardless of being mastered or not, which is totally not true. So I think a lot of people have that misperception.
Wow, that was like, I heard three, at least three in that one thing. I think you hit several. Yeah, when you said no structure, there is the big one. You hit the nail on the head for one of the big ones, especially at the elementary level, and that is that there's just no accountability or assessment or follow through or feedback. It's just, you know, follow the child. The famous quote that gets thrown around a lot, and it pains my heart to hear it when it's applied to a Montessori setting where perhaps there is no accountability. We're going to talk about that. Good one. Somebody else.
Jeff, maybe I can add, again, it's a very similar theme to what Jenny said earlier, but more specifically around, you know, focus on STEM, lack of focus on STEM. Again, not necessarily focused on the hard skills that are going to be of value going forward, right? Whether it is technology, science, or mathematics, you know, more of the softer skills rather than the harder skills, the emphasis of Montessori system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you for that, Vishal. I would agree with that one, that it's a misconception. Okay, and since we do have some Montessori parents in the room, I know this is going to sound like changing gears, but it's actually not. Tell us some of the things, if you would be willing to, putting our Montessori parents on the spot a little bit, our primary, especially, you know, if you've had children in primary, currently have children in primary, at the primary level, which is ages 3 to 6. Tell us some things that you love, that you treasure about primary and the experience your child is having.
I'm not sure if there are any other current parents, so I would love to give another current parent a first chance before I speak again.
Jenny, I think you just volunteered yourself.
And I just volunteered myself, sure, no problem. There's so many things I love about Montessori. The most things that I love about is there's definitely structure, and there's more structure than you think there is. It's just very subtly instilled within day to day. But other than that, the most important thing I like about it is kids can really learn at their own pace. And it's not just, okay, you know, within that year, there's certain things that kids need to accomplish for sure. But within that year, kids have the flexibility to work on what their strengths are and what their weaknesses are. So it's really within that structure, you are able to kind of be really flexible and have the freedom to learn at your own pace. So for example, my son Aiden is in primary right now. So he's very good at geography and like space. So he's a maniac in space. He's a nerd in that area. So the teachers are very dedicated on each children, and they're able to provide lessons based on what he really likes. But at the same time, he's a strong reader. So he's able to quickly learn faster than some of his peers, just because he's interested in that and he has strength in that area. There's a lot of areas that he needs to work on too, for example, and that he might be working on his own pace. So I think it's just great. I can go on forever, but I'm just going to stop here.
All right. Anyone else want to piggyback on that? And if you don't have a child currently in a Montessori school, I would also open it up to hopes, dreams, aspirations that you have for your child perhaps entering a Montessori school.
I'll take a crack at it.
This is Shirley, and
Okay, we'll hear from Shirley and then Timothy. Thank you.
Yes.
So I think Sophie's, she spent age 1 till 5 in the Montessori system, and I think for us, what was very special about the Montessori system is that it focused on teaching kids a sense of, helping them find their inner compass and inner self in terms of developing independence, in developing, like an internal framework for motivation and internal moral framework as well. And so at the end of the day, we felt that within that system, the child could say, well, I'm going to learn maths because of these reasons. And it's less of an external pressurized, you need to do this or that. And I think that we really value that, because ultimately, when you leave school, what's going to matter is your inner drive to do something and your own moral compass. And I think for us, the other aspect we really loved about the Montessori system for Sophie early on was that even though it teaches that sense of independence, it's also very much it's also about, collaborations, that we live in an interconnected society, the way the older kids take care of the little kids, and there's an opportunity for them to learn leadership skills because they're kind of grouped in the 3-year age ranges. So I think those are the things that we really value about Montessori, and it's that independence plus the collaboration allows them to move at their own speed in a way and focus on the things that they, their strengths, but also, learn about why they need to deal with their own weaknesses without an adult saying to them, hey, you better do this today, otherwise here's the rewards and punishments. So that's what we value about Montessori.
Thank you very much. Timothy?
So I guess mine is based on extension on what Shirley and Jenny both said. My kids, they're no longer in the Montessori program, but they were in a Montessori program from, I guess, my son from when he was 2 till 5, and then my daughter 2 till 4. And what I liked about Montessori, like Shirley said, is I feel like when you go to a public school, you're expected to do certain things, learn certain things, act a certain way. And I feel like everybody in the world is different, and they should be allowed to express their differences and learn at different speeds and different paces. And that is one thing that I really enjoyed about the Montessori programs that we have been a part of.
Thank you for that. Here's how I'm going to connect all these beautiful things that I tried my best to capture, that are reflections or current observations on the experience in primary. And it's one of the myths or misconceptions that hurts my heart the most, and that is that it really all kind of goes away at the elementary level, because now it's time to put your big boy pants on or your big girl pants on and do school. And yeah, Maria Montessori didn't pick a swimming club or a gymnastics camp in which to do all of this wonderful, amazing, genius work she did. She picked school. Right? Education, academic work is the water we swim in here at Post Oak. And so, yeah, our students meet and exceed all of the state and national standards for academics. And what's more important and what we do best is that all of the beautiful things that were just shared, they still happen in elementary. They still take place. And a picture speaks 1,000 words, and more than one picture is better. And so what I'd like to do now is kind of put Joseph, sorry about this. You know, full disclosure, Mr. Aiken has not had an opportunity to see any of these pictures. So Joseph, I'm just going to put some pictures on the screen and give you an opportunity to maybe talk about what you see. Would you be willing to kind of narrate this for us? Because I think that your narrations, you know, seeing into these photographs from the experience of someone who's been in the classroom for a long time and is a Montessori leader and is someone who is currently leading the elementary team, I think maybe that would be so much better than hearing me talk about anything else or talk about something else. And so I'm going to try to share my screen.
Okay.
We're going to start with lower elementary, which is 6 to 9 years old, roughly ages 9 to 12. I mean, sorry, yeah, grades 1, 2, and 3. And I appreciate your patience. I had them queued up and ready. And this is going to take me just a sec.
Patient. So I'll have to let you all know that I myself found Montessori through my parents. Just like you, they were researching and they were finding an alternative method to educate their 2 children, me and my sister, and they found a Montessori school in North Texas in Dallas that worked with children from 18 months through 14. So my sister and I attended the St. Alcuin Montessori School from the ages of 18 months through middle school. Okay. Here's what we really came for. This always makes everything better, is to be able to see elementary children at work. I believe that, I think Shirley was talking about the collaboration that she enjoyed being able to observe with her daughter, Sophie, and that aspect of collaboration of big work continues into the elementary. It just becomes more dynamic. You can tell that the children are certainly larger, their skeletons are growing, they want to be able to be challenged. And so this is a picture of children and adults working together at the Post Oak campus. In the back field, there's a long stretch that's been broken up into these different plots where the children can cultivate herbs and fruits and vegetables. And here it looks to, oh, we're switching.
Sorry, I just
got me on a time limit.
I figured out how to switch.
Oh, okay.
Just let me know whenever you're ready for me to move on.
Yeah.
We have about a dozen at each level.
Oh, okay. So what I notice here and call attention to is we still at elementary have mixed ages. So here you have a composite of mixed age groups of children between the ages of 6 and 9.
Oh, I'm sorry to also interrupt. If anybody is panicking because they don't see any masks on, all of these pictures are pre-COVID.
From the past.
Yeah, I can actually breathe a little easier just looking at these pictures.
Mm-hmm.
not seeing all those masks on. But yeah, if I had taken them today, we would have seen masks on every single person in the picture.
Yeah.
Sorry, Joseph.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I appreciate that qualification. Still a balance between independent work, group work, the development of micromotor skills and also macromotor skills. They like big work. They like using the full extent of their body and their energy. And they enjoy the outdoors. Whenever you observe within a 6 to 9 or 9 to 12 class, you'll find lots of different, of course, we're teaching and we're looking at biology, both botany and zoology, but you'll also see a lot of different visual aids. The visual aids were actually developed in response by Mario working with groups of children outside. So also what we cannot hear here are all the different conversations and different points of interest that the children are coming up with as they come across invertebrates, as they're exploring leaf patterns, growth, as they're monitoring the development of their plot of land and working with one another. So this is really like a science laboratory, an outdoor science laboratory of the children collaborating with one another. All right, next. Oh, great. Here we have a group of 6 to 9-year-olds. That's also what you're going to see in terms of collaboration. Yes, you'll see independent work, but the children often come together to be able to solve work. This yellow material that you see on the ground is one of the ways that the concept of area, finding surface area, is presented to the children. First, we start with rectangles, and then we proceed to triangles, trapezoids, other polygons, and then finally with circles. But the concept here is the fact that if it's a rectangle, you can simply find the length, the height, you can count up the squares, and then with any geometric shape after that, you can break it into a rectangular shape to be able to solve for the area. And I also notice smiles. I see joy. I see some personal pride in what it is that they're have been collaborated with. And you'll also see in the background a lot of other math materials, some which you probably recognize from your children's 3 to 6 community. The geometric solids, the bead chains, let's see, the geometric cabinet. So many of the same materials that your child has experienced or has been introduced to in their children's house or in the primary classroom continues into the elementary, and we just build upon it. Finding volume, working better with our skip counting, values of squares and cubes. All right. Here you can see, this is always what's surprising, is whenever you see all of them together. Together in a group gathering, and children of this age do enjoy costumes and trying on different personalities. And here this is coming together for a classroom event. I believe this might be Famous Persons Day, where the children are exploring people throughout history, giving presentations. And one of those extensions that they've done as a part of that is they've come up with costumes. I think I seen Amelia Earhart. I've definitely seen Abraham Lincoln. This is my first, I see some astronauts. What's really nice is that each one of these children, if we were to ask them, would have a story and a prepared idea and representation of who it was that they were interested in. And you can also see the adult. One adult amongst this community of children. Okay. This is, first thing I notice here is that this is a rug work. Children in elementary work individually, they work in small groups, they work at table spaces, they also work at floor spaces, they work indoors, and they work outdoors. Here we happen to be on a rug indoors, and she is exploring prepositions. This is building upon everything that we're doing is always built upon the shoulders of the work that the child has done in the children's house with the 3 to 6 guide. But here we are in elementary exploring one of the 9 parts of speech. This child is working with prepositions. Place a chair. Oh, that's it. And then there's a preposition. Maybe under, above, next to, beside. But she's building out a sentence. And so this is one of the ways that they're able to explore the parts of speech. They build out with these, they read the sentence, which is on the large purple card that's at the top of her rug. Then she uses those smaller cards to be able to build it out. Red is always a verb. And then the children carry out the actions. So somewhere in this room, she's found a chair and she's placed it beside or next to a table. So there's always this synthesis of reading and movement, and then also of manipulation with the symbols. Aha, okay. Here you can see two children working together. Again, it's on the rug. This is with a math material that's called the checkerboard. And this is one of the ways, not the only way, just one of many ways in which concepts of multiplication, multi-digit multiplication are explored. You can see that they're employing the bead bars. Those are the same colored bead bars that your children has known since they were very, very young. They were present in the Children's House, where ones are red, twos are green, threes are yellows, threes are pink, I think. Fours are yellows, fives, blues, on and on and on. This work itself too, they're able to do multi-digit. This looks like they're doing a single digit problem. They solve for this. And then the big part of this is saying large numbers. So you say the multiplicand, you say the multiplier, and then you give the answer. You know, if it's 726,314, they take their time, each being able to verbalize and to be able to say these big problems. And then what I like to do is usually have them from that point on then make it into a word problem or come up with some sort of way to extend it into a word problem. All right. Aha, another rug work. And this child is on a rug. He's working individually, but you can also see next to him another rug with a box of beads out. Looks like maybe that checkerboard was close by. You can also see children standing and sitting and moving around him in the background. And that's the way it looks inside a Montessori classroom is there's all these different life experiences, explorations occurring around you while you work. So even if you're getting up just to sharpen a pencil or to use the restroom, you go past all these different occurrences that could be a catalyst for your own interest. This child is exploring geography, cartography, maps. He's exploring the countries of Europe. And this is called our pin map material. And it looks like he has also brought a resource close by his right knee. I see that he's got a world book that's out, if that's helping him identify. This starts off as a guessing game. So there's also, with all these different materials, we work with memory quite a bit, memory of math facts, memory of conventional spellings, memory of criteria for vertebrates or invertebrates, also memory of geographical locations. And so it starts off as a guessing game where you may just take 5 pins, you place them, and then you verify using a verification chart. Over time, there's going to be less and less guessing and more knowing. And so we're also trying to call to the child's attention what type of learner they are, and as they're experiencing that heightening of their abilities and their confidence in terms of what they know now versus what they once knew. Is this a pan out? Nope. Okay, this looks like
Could I speak to this one just for a sec?
Yeah.
You know what comes to mind when I look at this picture is, Timothy, kind of to piggyback on what you said, the kind of comparing and contrasting a conventional school environment with Montessori. One of the things that I think is the most striking difference is has to do with time versus mastery. You know, we've heard the expression already used, follow the child, and I can't remember, Jenny, if it was you or Shirley, talked about this, you know, beautiful way in which the children are guided and helped to find their own strengths and their own internal drive. And you know, Montessori kids can answer the questions, what's important to you? What do you care about? You'll see different types of work going on at the same time. And yes, there's even a computer out in a lower elementary classroom, maybe looking up some information that they couldn't find in a book first. But most significantly here, I want to point out the difference between the time versus mastery model in a conventional, traditional classroom versus a Montessori classroom. In a traditional classroom, Time is the constant and mastery is the variable. If I'm the teacher and if I'm giving a lesson on fractions or multiplication, I'm going to present that material for a fixed period of time. I'm going to provide that assessment, and then I'm going to get a bell curve or something that resembles a bell curve for the academic achievement outcomes, the mastery outcomes. And here's the cringiest part. I'm going to move on to the next academic learning objectives for the whole class. In a Montessori classroom, we turn that upside down. Time is the variable and mastery is the constant. You'll see children working on concepts, engaging in practice and repetition until they've mastered it. For some children, if they're working on equivalent fractions, that may take 2 days. For others, it may take 2 weeks. It's going to take as long as it needs to take, and then the teacher, through careful observation and frequent informal and formal assessment, is going to know when they're ready to move on. So thanks, Joseph, for letting me jump right in there and interject that one.
Of course.
I want to make sure that we leave time for questions. And so what I would like to do at this point is to go ahead and just leaf through the pictures here, and then we can let this conversation go where it needs to go based on what you all brought with you today in terms of your questions and your thoughts and reflections, and and make sure that if you have a burning question that we don't leave today without you asking it. Older child working with a younger child. Yes, we do use computers, but they're all behind it's done very intentionally and carefully. We have subscription databases. These kids are not Googling things if we could see their screens. Music is a part of what we do. Time for some pleasurable reading, another math material. This is a great example of big work. Time versus mastery. How long do you suppose it took those 2 girls to do some operation in mathematics that stretched out in the hallway, took up that much space? All right. I'll pause there. I have some pictures for upper elementary, but I think that it's more important that we pause and give everyone a chance to have a little Q&A, which, if it leads us to upper elementary, I am happy to put a few upper elementary pictures up on the screen for us to kind of discuss. So I'll pause there. What's on your mind?
I have a question.
Thank you.
How many kids are there in each class?
Currently, we have around 21 students enrolled in lower elementary classrooms, 26 enrolled in upper elementary classrooms. We consider them full at 28. That sort of defies standard, well-established private school logic. Conventional logic is based on a teacher-led, adult-directed environment in which a very low student-to-teacher ratio is important so that the teacher can manage them. And sorry if I'm going down a rabbit hole with this, Timothy, but every comment is just an opportunity, right? So I wanted to share that conventional logic says that in an adult-directed environment, that class moves together with purpose based on the direction of the adult. And this is not me saying that's worse or saying that Montessori is better. It's different. And it's important to acknowledge that for some children, that way of moving together with purpose brings out the best in what they, in their development. For other children, and we see this every day in our classrooms move together with purpose in a different way. And the reason we have a higher student to teacher ratio, lead teacher ratio, is because it is a student directed environment. Now we do have 2 adults in the room. So if you want to be technical, we have a pretty low student to adult ratio, but the room is filled with the students' purposeful movement, as you saw in the photographs, the students' purposeful communication, and most significantly, their choices about how they're going to engage in practice and repetition based on lessons that they've had. And so, yes, you also need a higher number of students to have a good balance across 3 grade levels. So forgive me, Timothy, for interrupting. Did you have a part 2 to your question?
No, you actually answered it with the amount of adults. I was gonna ask what is a student teacher ratio, but you said there's 2 adults, 28, so 14 to 1, 10 to 1 type.
Yeah. You threw me a softball there. I had to swing at that one. Okay, anybody else?
I actually have a question too. So would the elementary level be similar to primary, where if a children shows or demonstrates strength in a certain area that's higher than their peers, can they go on and go to small group lessons that are probably more towards a 2nd grade or a 3rd grade, or is it more contained within that 1st grade level?
Joseph?
Yeah, it's nonlinear and it's not group by grade. So if your child is showing a certain aptitude of skills regarding reading or science or mathematics, then they're grouped with other children who are in that area. So it's able to be individually tailored.
Got it. Thank you.
Unlike, to piggyback on that one, Jenny, that was a good question. In primary, lessons are presented in a very one-on-one type of fashion. Sometimes in the afternoons with the older students, they'll have small group lessons in primary. But in elementary, it's very uncommon for the teacher to just be presenting to a single student. In lower L, it's more common to see groups of 4 to 6, even 8 in lower elementary, and then in upper elementary, slightly larger groups. And it's also common, like we saw in the pictures, for children to choose work with their peers as they follow up in practice and do the things that the teacher shows them how to do with the material. They like working together. Instruction is individualized, but that doesn't mean it's one-on-one at the elementary level. Yeah, and then parents often ask, wait a second, if this is a self-contained room, the teacher is teaching all the content to 3 different grade levels, how in the world do they keep track of what everybody is doing? Well, we have a really nice computer-based web-based record-keeping system. That helps. But also there's the Montessori teacher is a trained observer. Carefully observing the students, keeping track of and monitoring what they're working on. Every lesson is an opportunity for assessment. Every time a child is working and practicing and turning work in, those are opportunities for assessment. So having been a Montessori teacher and in a former life, a traditional teacher, I tend to think that there's actually more assessment and more meaningful assessment in a Montessori room compared, at least with my conventional classroom that I taught in back when I was in a traditional school. So thank you for your question. Y'all are on fire. Keep it going.
Jeff, I do have one as well, Vishal here. So, the Montessori environment is very enriched. You showed us some pictures of that on the campus itself. What else is there, either off campus or perhaps on site, that complements that? I'm thinking here, music, language, any things that happen outside of the campus that you allow to integrate and enrich the experience further.
I'm looking for a picture to show you. And if I can't find it quickly, I'm going to abandon my abandon my search, but sorry, I just have to, I just really wanted to show you this picture. If I can't find it quickly, I'll give up. Oh, well, I'm sorry, I can't find it. It was a picture of students fencing. And I was going to make some,
Okay.
I was going to attempt a witty comment at wearing masks or something. You know, yes, we did mask wearing before COVID. Anyway, sorry, that was bad. But we have a very rich variety of opportunities for students to have after school enrichment program classes, which unfortunately we're not doing right now because it involves bringing children from different rooms together. But the curriculum is wide and deep. So in the classroom, it includes foreign language, it includes music, it includes, there it is. Thank you, Ashley. It includes music, it includes you know, visual art, and physical fitness. After school, children can sign up for from 3:30 to 4:30, from everything from chess to fencing, soccer shots, tennis, robotics, coding. We had a Minecraft group going for a while, Montessori Model United Nations, hula hooping, which is hugely popular. I had no idea. But yeah, anyway, I don't know if that answers your question. And then at the 6th grade level, our elementary students can start joining the Bearcats. We are the Bearcats, and we have competitive sports in middle school and high school. But for our 6th graders, we find it works well to include them in cross country and track. And so that's an opportunity there for competitive sports for our oldest upper L students in those 2 sports. So did I get close to what you were wondering about?
That was it, Jeff. And, you know, we did look at the website and see all the things that are on there. I just want to hear from you as well. I know, you know, we have some friends who have children at the school. So, you know, one of the things that intrigued us was the Model UN, for example. You know, that was very interesting to see. I know that's at the higher grades and you progress towards that, but really having that experience as a young person to go out there and actually attend and participate in that kind of forum is phenomenal, fantastic from our view. You know, so I'm not sure you had something else as well you want to touch on.
Yeah, I just have 2 questions. First one's a follow up what Vishal said, and that's the middle and high school education, and it's for Ashley. Ashley, is it possible for us to have a look at the to attend the middle and high school session as well? Because you know we would like to have our child in the system perhaps all the way till they go to college, and I feel like, you know, when they are 12, 13, it'd be nice if they didn't have to make those transitions at a very sort of sensitive time in their life. So is it possible for us to be signed up for those sessions as well?
Yes, absolutely. I always encourage parents to go to middle school and high school, especially because, you know, we'd like for you to be here all the way through. That's our goal, is for you to go all the way through the program. I would say the best way to RSVP is probably through the website, and our next middle school and high school program is in December.
Okay, well, I might email you because I tried doing that, but I didn't get the code for yesterday's session.
Oh, no.
So it's okay. So we'll figure it out. And then my next question is for Jeff and Joseph. We, you know, I think the Montessori system is a lot about the whole child. And for us, that means physical education as well. And so we know there's a lot of enrichment after school in terms of physical education. But how do you incorporate that into your day from 8:30 to 3 o'clock or something like that?
Yeah, I know Jeff earlier spoke to how we have a robust Spanish program. We have, exceptional art teacher and music teacher. We also have a really fantastic physical fitness PE staff, and that's incorporated into the weekly schedule for the children. Right now that still continues class by class, and then we're also always taking advantage of the acreage and the land outside for fresh air activities and for play. That's a part of each child's day-to-day life here at Post Oak.
I would thank you, Joseph, and I would only add to that, as other schools have, out of test outcome anxieties, changed their specials classes, scaled back art, scaled back music or physical fitness. We really do. We've been very intentional all along at having what we feel like is a very appropriate, dialed in level of those subjects. And our pendulum doesn't swing all over the place. Our students they have one 45-minute art class per week, one 45-minute music class, 2 Spanish classes, and 2 physical fitness classes. And those are taught by content area specialists. Foreign languages in the classroom, but art, music, and physical fitness in ordinary times is out of the classroom. We cluster them together so that the uninterrupted work period is not interrupted all throughout the week. We kind of cluster that together.
Is there a lot of time for outdoor play and activity during the day, or is there?
Well, especially now, right?
Like you're in Houston, it's not cold.
Well, the great thing about Houston is that we can get outside. If we had any pictures of the playground, this is a little side challenge for Ashley there. If we had any pictures of the playground, you would see lots of shade, and so our children can be outdoors year round, and they do, like Joseph said, take fresh air breaks throughout the day, have 2 physical fitness classes per week. Oh, recess is the other thing that tends to get, there's all that shade. Thank you, Ashley. Recess is the thing that also tends to get really, there are some educators who have some very wrong ideas about recess. Time for free unstructured play is really important in the early grades. Our lower elementary children go outside for 30 minutes every day for recess time. The upper elementary students 4 times a week. So we also incorporate that into the schedule.
Jeff, can I just add on to the physical fitness, just to let the prospective students know, which was really a pleasant surprise for us when we were in Aiden's in elementary. So Aiden is a little bit less, he's less outgoing, for example. So his overall gross motor skills is not as good as his fine motor skills. So I mentioned that to our lead teacher in primary, and then she also mentioned it to the coach for PF, that's what we call it, physical fitness. It was a pleasant surprise that the coaches there actually paid attention to that. So during our parent-teacher conferences, I was able to actually get feedbacks on how he was doing physically. So I wasn't expecting that at all. But just these little subtle things that really are really pleasant surprises. So I think just to reassure your question, Shirley, on the physical fitness part.
Thanks, Jenny.
No problem.
Hey, good morning. This is Michael. I'm Ivan's father. Here with my wife, Amy. And we have a quick question. Our kid is entering grade 1. He really enjoys outdoor activities, like going to the pumpkin patch and dairy farm. And he's also an animal lover. Like he goes to the zoos and the aquarium every week or other weeks. So my question is, will there be any field trips like that, or like tours to the zoos or museum for the lower elementary schools? Wow. Okay.
Joseph, would you like to take that one?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I can speak to that. In normal times, yes, we've got going out programs, which is an opportunity for 6 to 9-year-olds and 9 to 12-year-olds to be able to engage with society. Sometimes those are small groups of children going to aquariums or going to shops. Sometimes it's whole class trips like you see here, where you go to a museum, taking advantage of all of the great resources that Houston has to offer in terms of the Natural Science Museum, the art museums. However, right now in COVID times, those outings are not taking place. And so a lot of that is being reevaluated for how we can do that in the safest manner as we progress and live through just the changing times. But in terms of Montessori philosophy and elementary program and the support that Post Oak has for those opportunities, it's very, very high. And if we were having a discussion this time last year, it'd be absolutely, and we'd have even more pictures and we'd be able to give examples of how the children were doing that today. But that's all being rethought right now regarding safety.
Understandable. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I saw a question, how many outings per week? That's a tricky one to answer. There are some formal outings that we've done in the past. I'll give you some examples. We take a group every year to the Houston Arboretum. We take a group to we take groups to the well, I'm drawing a blank here. Let me stick to the overnight trips. We do have one overnight trip that we've done traditionally for third year students. Thanks, Andrew. It's good to see you. Our third year students go for a single overnight to Camp Allen, which is a camp that's about an hour and 15 minutes from here. And it's an outdoor education school. They have wonderful staff there, and our third graders go, and it's an opportunity for them to be together as a group at the end of their third grade year before moving to upper elementary. It's a wonderful bonding experience. And for some children, that single overnight is not a stretchy experience because they've spent multiple nights away from home. For others, it's new and different, and it's, it is kind of a stretchy experience. Same for parents too. For some parents, it's like, yeah, take them as many nights as you want. For other parents, it's a nail biter. Are they going to be okay? And we haven't lost one yet. So it's something that children look forward to for three years in lower elementary. In upper elementary, they do a similar trip. We work with a group called Nature's Classroom Institute. They're a Montessori group. They have excellent counselors, and they use a camp that's also outside of the Houston area, about an hour and a half, and it's a 4-day, 3-night trip for our upper elementary students, and they really look forward to that. It's a lot of fun, and we hope to get back there soon. But those are just a couple of overnight trips that we have sort of regularly on the calendar. It's a little after 11 o'clock. I want to respect everyone's time. If anyone needs to head out, I'm happy to hang out for a bit longer if anybody has a question that they didn't get answered. But I do want to pause just for a moment and say thank you so much. It was great to meet all of you virtually, and I hope to see you and talk to you again, and eventually see you in person. So if anybody needs to head out, and I'm happy to stick around for a bit longer.
Ashley, would you mind just explaining to us where to from here in terms of the admissions process? Thank you.
Sure. So all of the information that you need to submit for the application is online through a platform called Ravenna. I imagine you've probably you've worked in that program already because I have you in our database. But really the next step is filling out that application and submitting the supplemental documentation, which would be birth certificate, photograph, teacher recommendation forms, and any school records you might have, just to give us a better sense of, where the child is academically. And then after that, it's a holding pattern until we schedule the parent interview. And then after that would be a student interview. And then we send out all of our decisions in early March. And then similar to all the other private schools, we expect a decision back from you on April 7th. So, in a nutshell.
I have a question.
Sure.
I guess for Ashley also. You just mentioned teacher recommendations.
Mm-hmm.
Is that for all lower elementary grades, even I guess my son at the age of 6, or who will be 6 when he hopefully goes to the school, would he also need a teacher recommendation?
As long as it would be, if they are in school, we do ask for a teacher recommendation.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, I have a question. How many students are you accepting in the primary level?
Primary, it depends on the age group. We typically, the largest number of applicants is the 3-year-olds, because a third of the class will move up each year. So it brings in those openings for 3-year-olds, but every year we do have openings for 4 and 5-year-olds. I will say children coming in at that last year primary, there is a little bit of an emphasis on making sure that we are able to really meet the child's needs and prepare them for the next level. So there will be, unlike some of the younger children, we will do a student visit of some kind. I'm hoping, depending on the circumstances, right now we're planning for virtual. So they will be asked to do some academic tasks during that virtual meeting, but it would just depend on the age of your child.
Okay. And then a similar question, but for the 2nd grade students.
Yeah, so looking at enrollment right now, we are anticipating spots for the upcoming school year.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for almost all the grades in elementary, if I'm thinking properly, I don't have my spreadsheet in front of me, but every year, usually, 1st grade is the heavy entry point.
Yeah.
But knowing enrollment and knowing that we do have a smaller class size this year, that we will have spots in that 2nd grade, 3rd grade level as well. Mm-hmm.
Okay, great.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question about your teachers really quick. Are they bilingual?
We have a few teachers who are bilingual. They don't. We don't currently have any classrooms that are all that are Spanish immersion. In summer school, we do have a primary classroom, and we've been able to do this every summer. That is a Spanish immersion class. All the instruction is in Spanish, and it's taught by a Montessori trained native speaker. Oh my goodness, we have teachers who speak, let's see if I can do this, Russian, French, Spanish. Do we have any Mandarin speakers? No.
Not at the lower school, yeah.
Yeah, in lower school. We do have some teachers who are bilingual and multilingual. However, the instruction is in English.
Mm-hmm.
If we have, when we offer Spanish at the elementary level, it's taught by a native speaker who's qualified to teach Spanish. Sometimes that's the classroom assistant, and sometimes it's a specialist who joins that class for those lessons.
Right.
Did that answer your question?
Yes, I did. Thank you. I also have one last question about homework. How do you guys feel about homework?
That's a really good one, and that kind of gets us back where we started. You know, some people believe that Montessori schools don't have homework and shouldn't have homework. I think that is actually the wrong way of looking at it. Here's what we do at Post Oak. There are families at Post Oak who have different values about the way that students spend time at home. We want to work with and honor those values wherever they may be. And we want to be very clear and manage expectations and assumptions about what we do and why we do it. If there is generally work that all the things that children do at home, whether it's academic or not, contributing to family life, is homework in a way, right? I mean, but that sounds like a cop-out. So I'll keep going and share that if there's an elementary family who answers the question, like, what is important to you, and makes a value statement about homework by saying, in our home, we believe that school-age kids should spend some time every evening doing some academic work at home. We can work with you and value that. The teachers who know the academic work of the children really well can work closely with the family to help them find things that they can do at home. It doesn't mean that we'll assign things every day and every week. It means that the teachers will work with that family. If there's another family who answers that question by saying, in our home, we believe that school-age kids should spend time at home following their interests, playing and enjoying the outdoors and contributing to family life in a meaningful way. We can be in alignment with that too. There are times when children, sometimes the teacher may reach out to the parent and say, hey, here's what I'm seeing lately. You know, there's a little aversion to doing math work, and I've given some lessons and there hasn't been that much follow-up and practice. I'm wondering if we can partner together. Would you, if I sent some things home, would you be willing to do, to provide that encouragement at home? And so there are times when students do take academic work home at the request of the teacher based on their observations. And if we want to call that homework, then yes, sometimes the teachers will assign homework, but it's very individualized and case by case. I'll pause there. I could go on and on. I could do a whole hour-long, coffee on this one. So really good question. Did that answer it for you?
Yes, thank you.
Excuse me, this is Michael again. I have a quick question for probably for Ashley about the parent interview and the interview for the kid assessment for the kid. So first is Ashley, you mentioned that after the application is submitted, there will be a holding time. I guess that's for you to review that application, and then you will schedule a time with us for the interview with the parents and the kid. First question is that when would that be approximately? Because we are out of town or from Canada, we need to plan ahead for our travel. The second question is that possible we do a virtual interview, or it has to be in person? Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So the reason why I say a holding, because a lot of times, parents come to our different events and then they submit all of the documentation, and we typically don't schedule the interviews to happen until January and February time, because our application deadline is the beginning of January, and we just need to make sure we have enough time slots for everybody who's applied. So that's what I mean by holding pattern. So I apologize for a little bit of a confusion. Right now, we are doing everything virtually just based on our current policies. So parent interview and student interview would be virtual, and we would schedule that based on our availability as well as yours. We've done some at 4 o'clock, we've done some come at 8 a.m. We are, we try to be as flexible as possible. And we have worked with families from all over, as talking about people from Spain all the way to California and Mexico. So we know that there are also time differences. So we try to make it work to the best of our ability. But yes, it would be virtual. So in sometime in either January or February.
Okay, thank you for confirming,
Absolutely.
and thank you for the flexibility.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll try that again. Thank you all very much for being here. It was a pleasure. And thanks for your patience with the Zoom format and for just going with it. I'm getting a little better each time. Ashley, thanks for your help, and Joseph for you being here as well. Feel free to reach out if you have any additional questions. Joseph is your very best point person for specific questions about the elementary program. I'm sure he'll be glad to connect with you and answer further questions about it, whether you're a current Post Oak parent or if you're a prospective parent. So y'all have a great day and a great week, and talk to you again sometime. Thanks.